Hello, everyone. Yes, Christy here. So, I thought I'd give you what is probably my penultimate book update because the writing of the book is basically done now. I've done all of the editing, and I've done all of the text and format, and the images and the sigils are, not perfect, but given my limited technology to put them in, they're as good as they're going to get right now. So I thought, since I had a captive audience, ignore the sound of the washing machine in the background, I'd give you a quick summary of what's in the book that I'm going to be submitting sometime in the next week. So we have an introduction, which is just going to basically state what's in the book and how to use it. The first substantial chapter is the meeting with the spirit called Kelvac. Now, Kelvac is the patron spirit under whom I am writing this book. He's been the one giving me these secrets. And I describe our first meeting and what he told me then, and the means of conjuring him comprise Chapter 2. Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 are basically a reworking of the essay on this topic that I submitted to the second anthology of sorcery. So, if that gets published, this is a slightly reworked version of that essay. Chapter 3 is the Magician's Boot Camp. And I hemmed and hawed over the inclusion of this section. It runs some 20 pages. It's a very preliminary explanation of magical philosophy and how to do acts of magic. I put it in because if you've never done magic before, if this is going to be your first book, I want it to be complete. Even though my target audience is people who probably already know how to do this stuff. Chapter 4 is where the blue magic really starts to come in. It's preliminary blue magic. It's called Calling Down Neptune is the chapter. It gives you some rituals to invoke blue energy. It gives you signs, sigils, circles on how to do that. One ritual in here which I'm particularly proud of is called the Banishing and Invoking Rituals of the Trident. You've seen me perform it in the Supreme Rite of Blue Magic video. After that, there's a discussion of low blue magic, how to take things like shark's teeth, fish hooks, fish blood is a good example, how to take these objects and make them into magical talismans. I found throughout this working that these spirits like to commune with things that are like reed bags, that you just have to hold this talisman in your hand, and you can instantly evoke the spirit. And I'm going to give you guides in Chapter 5 on how to make one for every spirit you might encounter. Chapter 6 is fun. It describes 3 meetings I had with the Crown Prince Leviathan. It's got some sigils and some advice, but it's mostly dialogue. I may in the future do a work totally dedicated to Leviathan. Chapter 7 is Island Magic. And I primarily look at 2 cultures, Afro-Caribbean and Polynesian. Now for the Afro-Caribbean stuff, I talk very briefly about the traditions of Haitian voodoo, Obeah, Palomayombe, etc. This part of the chapter is kind of short. because there's a lot been written about voodoo already, and I'm not formally initiated. What it does spend a lot of time on is Agwe, the Haitian Loa of the sea and the patron of sailors. It for the Polynesian part, it really gets into the theory of mana, and this is one of the really cool things about this book. One of my really new ideas, I think, is that the Hawaiian idea of mana is more than what's found in Magic the Gathering. It's a real system of power that helps to explain a lot, and if that's true, then you can tap into its power and improve your own magical working. You can shortcut the learning curve, as it were. Alright, the next chapter is Gods of the Sea. This is chapter 8. In Gods of the Sea, I talk with several deities of water, and you can find, it's basically a journal log, an account of my repeated evocations of beings like Poseidon and Yam, Nahar, and other spirits. Chapter 9 is my favorite part of the book. It's the longest part of the book. It's the most important. It's got the sigils of 54 brand new demons that I have personally encountered. They call themselves sea demons or dark undines. I'm not sure if they're the same thing as the Judeo-Christian demons, but they do seem pretty cool. So after you've worked through all that, then in the 10th chapter, I'm going to show you their kingdom. I'm going to show you the kingdom of the vast deep and how to pathwork that to enter into a source of power I call the Abysmal Nexus, which is an incredible source of magical power. And if that weren't enough, chapter 11 teaches you additional astral sources of power that you can tap into. Chapter 12 is what's called the Baneful Blue. Now, in the Baneful Blue, I give a detailed discussion of how these spirits can be used, the spirits in chapter 9, can be used in cursing. Chapter 13, Blue Necromancy, teaches you how to smash open Davy Jones' locker and call up all the spirits that dwell inside. Chapter 14 is a very brief chapter on the language of the sea. It's a collection of words, incantations, and symbols that you can use to generate more powerful incantations. Chapter 15, the Book of Storms, talks about how you can raise storms. Chapter 16 is a guide on how you can actually have group working and group evocations, and also, and I think very cool, there's a group rite of human sacrifice. Sorry, I have a canine visitor on my lap. So, chapter 17 is one of the longest chapters in the book. It's rites of possession and transfiguration. It walks you through rites of possession, how to become possessed by the spirits of chapter 9, and because most of these take on animal forms, it also shows you how to be transformed, how to undergo lycanthropy or therianthropy to become things like a were-crocodile. I did a ritual a few videos back where I became possessed by one of my favorite spirits in the Grimoire, Caragel. Chapter 18 is kind of fun. It's the Pirate's Grimoire. It has some basic spells on, like, attracting good wenches and finding buried treasure. It's mostly for fun. You know, take a break from all the intense path-working stuff. Chapter 19, the final chapter, Atlantis Rising, is kind of a pathwork culmination. Basically a conclusion to the whole pathworking. And then in the chart room is the concluding essay. That's just a final conclusion to the whole work. So I hope to submit my book for publication next week. Wish me luck. I hope that you get to see this book as soon as possible. Thanks.